Right, try number 2. Okie dokie. What you need for this one, I've turned them up that way so you can see them. What you need is a piece of A4 card. So it's 29.7 down, and I've cut 6.3 off the side, so it's 14.8 wide. Okay, you need another piece, 15 by 10 centimeters again, piece of backing paper, and your embellishments. You'll also need a ruler. This is my new ruler, it's fab. It's got grid marks on, so you can line everything up, it's fab. I don't know why I never got one before. A pencil, mine's got a rubber on, which is always handy, and my favourite scoring tool. You have your own preference. You'll also need some wet glue. My preference is tacky glue, but you can use what you want. Okay, ready? Right, let's shift all of those out of the way a minute. All of this is in the project notes I typed up this afternoon before I started, so you can get them online as usual when I upload them. Okay, so ignore the border, I just did that for speed in case the video ran out. Right, so you're going to mark up your piece of card, put it in horizontal position as such, and then you want to mark your score lines at upside down, take it up the other way, ignore that bit down there. Right, I have to line this up then, because I used that to cut the border in a little while ago. Right, so first mark 14.8, 17.8, 25.8 and 28.8. Repeat that at the bottom. Okay, then my scoring tool, and I keep meaning to tell you this bit but I keep forgetting. If you put your scoring tool on the top mark, and especially with this ruler because it has all those grids so you can line it up at the top and the bottom, put it on your top mark, you can put your ruler up against that, then you're only trying to find the bottom mark. So score, 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 and score. Right, so that's your first bit done. I'll explain the border in a minute. Right, on your second bit of card, ignore the border again, I'll explain that in a minute. Your score lines are at 1 and 4. Move the ruler down 1 and 4. Butt up with one of the points. Line up the ruler and score. And score. Right, so that's your scoring done. Just pop that out of the way for now. And that. And that. Right. Then what I did, I'll show you on the original. What I did was I put the border along the top and a border along the bottom of the card and then on the paper as well, just to give it an extra dimension. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Right. So I've done the border. And I did the border on the paper as well. All I did with the paper was cut it at 10. I haven't sort of cut how long it is yet, because I'm going to do that actually on the card in a minute, right? But first of all, let's fold these lines down. Okay, sorry, I forgot to tell you, you need a bone folder. Right, the best way to do this is start on your middle line. Everybody's got a different way to start the fold, and it's just a matter of preference. I mean, I've seen some people use the edge of the ruler to just start the curl. I've seen people use the edge of the guillotine. There's a myriad of ways, but to each your own and whatever you're comfortable with. But the one thing you need to do when you're making fold lines is make sure that the card lines up at the edges, and then you know for sure you've got a straight line. Okay, so do all your score lines. Do this on the other way up so you see what I'm doing a bit better. And if it is slightly off, you know, if it doesn't reach the edges, just kind of wiggle it around until it does, because that'll keep your line straight. Because we all have had a score line that isn't exactly in the right position. It happens. Mind you, with this ruler it's made a massive difference. Anyway, when you get to this little end one, it's quite difficult because there isn't a lot to get a hold of. So do whatever you're happy with. I tend to just fold a little bit at a time until I get it going. Then I fold it down with my fingers, and then I use the bone folder. Right, that's that one scored. Now let's do the little one while we're here. I'm just looking to make sure that my pattern's on the outside of this one. I'd already done it on the other one. Right, and again the little one. Right, there we go. Right, and what I'm going to do with this paper is, I don't want it any longer than the piece of card, obviously. So although it's the right width, it's longer. I made it deliberately longer. All I'm going to do is glue the paper to the card and then trim the bit off I don't want. And how I use tacky glue, I'm not sure if you can see this, is I wiggle it all the way around the edges like a zigzag. Can you see that? I'm not sure. And then if I'm going to be going over a fold line, I always give that a bit extra glue, and I'll explain that in a minute. Then I just do big wiggles in the middle just to put some glue in there. Okay, always wipe my glue off, always put the cap on, and always keep it upside down. Right, so now I just need to line my paper up where I want it. Okay, stick it down fully. I always use the bone folder to do this, I find it easier. Tend over, do the same. Right, and before you cut the end off, put your folds back in because it'll pull the paper over a little bit more. But try and do this while your glue's still wet, because it helps the paper bend and stops it cracking. Okay, now you can trim your paper off. Okay, so that's my front panel all ready to rock and roll. Okay, so now this is really easy. You will be so surprised how easy this is. Okay, so on this long thin piece, put plenty of glue. I'll show you in a second. Right, see, I've just wiggly wiggled the glue all the way along there, but I've made sure it's pretty much all covered. Now, how easy is this, right? I don't know if you can see that. I'll do it that way and you'll be able to see them. 1, 2, 3, 4 fold lines, yeah? On the second fold line, fold it, okay? And that puts it in exactly the right position for where you want it. Tuck the glued bit down, stick it down. Make sure it's stuck down properly. Ta-da! It's as simple as that, honestly. I've done all the measuring for you. All you have to do is glue it. Right, so that's that bit. This bit is almost as easy, though it depends really on how deep your border is on both, because you might use a narrower border or a deeper border than me. So if you want to, you can position it, because it's the easiest way to do it, position it kind of where it looks central. It wants to be about 2.5 in from either side, but as I say, the length depends on how big your border is, okay? On the original, that's 5, and I've used the same border, so I might just go for 5 again. but I guesstimate everything anyway, and I only measure when I'm typing up the projects for you. I don't measure otherwise. Right, so to stick this down, same theory. Don't worry if there's a bit of white shown there, because it's going to be hidden. Ziggy-zaggy your glue along this bit again. Make sure there's plenty on, don't be shy with the glue. Then flatten this out the way you did when you had the other bit of gluing, and put it in the center. Measure it and mark it if you want. There's no right or wrong about doing this. I just do everything by eye usually. Right, and then stick it down. Make sure it's stuck down. And then flip this up, and you can measure and mark this again if you like, but me, I just ad lib anything below there. I often mark things with just my fingernail, just to give me an indication of where the limit is. Glue, 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 glue. Don't be shy with the glue. And keep it totally flat underneath. And then stick that down. Trying to keep it flat while you as much as you can. Then what I like to do, just to make sure it's going to go in the envelope all right, is to just recrease these creases here. Right. It doesn't stand too well on a glass mat. Can you see that? No. All right then. There you go. How's that? Right? Ta-da! That easy. Honestly, it's that easy. Right, and I'm even going to decorate it on video for you, so you can see how I do it. But it's not rocket science, believe me. Right, again, tacky glue. Right. You know you can get them silver nozzle things, those tiny nozzles for the tacky glue. I've never figured out why really, because if you use tacky glue often enough, you get the hang of how hard to squeeze the tube so that you know exactly how much glue is coming out, so you can keep it a fine line. I mean, it's got a tiny nozzle anyway. Can you? Where am I? Where's my camera? There we go. Got a tiny nozzle anyway. So there is one tip that I saw that I thought was quite good, though I have used it, but I just don't like the feel of the glue on my hand. Is to put, if you're doing some ink, just let me get around this bit and I'll show you. So I know where I'm up to. Right, if you've got something little like this leaf, you put a puddle on your hand, and then you can dab it in the glue and get it everywhere, if you want the glue everywhere. And then obviously go wash your hands and get the glue off the back of your hands. I didn't like the feel of it much, to be honest with you. I wasn't that keen. But I have used it, and I still do now and again if I'm, in a hurry to get something done or something like that. I tell you when I do use it, when I first get me dies, I've got a reference book with all my dies in. Well, if I get like a set of nesties that are quite intricate, I sometimes use it for that, just for speed. So I suppose all techniques have their place. Right, I'm nearly done. That'll do. Right, so I didn't measure this out, so I know this is going to be too big. Right, I don't know, I'll get away with it, I think. Right, so to stick it down, just flatten it back out again. The thing is, a tacky glue, it sometimes does come out the middle, but it doesn't matter because it dries clear. There we go, that's one. Right, I'm going to use these little teeny pad things, and when I use, well, a lot of the times, not even just when I'm using the pads, I use tweezers when I'm using the little pads. I just find it easier, because I want to put these card candy on the card. So, right, oh, too deep them pads, let me find me little, there we go, them ones, right. Okie dokie. Right, so I'm just going to pad up the candy. Trying to keep it flowing in case my video runs out. Hopefully I've timed it this time so it won't. By shortcutting and cutting all the borders and things first. Did I tell you where to cut the borders? Never mind. It tells you in the project notes when to cut your borders, so just print off the project notes and follow those along at the same time. Right, I'm going to finish the decorations off and then you can have a little look. I mean, you can use whatever you want to decorate it with. It's just with me Craft Mojo playing naughty again and not participating, I find I can still more or less create something with just dies. Oh, didn't need the glue at the top. Not to worry, it'll dry. Trees are also handy for getting in little places you can't reach with your big fat fingers. Right. Okay, so that's that bit. Now I just need to put the candy down the sides. I could probably put some more on there, but I'll stick with the basic. 1, 2, 3, and the last bit, and then we're done. That funny little noise is my tablet telling me I've got a message or something. It's in the other room. Nearly there. See how quick that was? And then if I've still got some video, I will explain to you about the borders. Right, to do the borders, if the video runs out, read it on the instructions. But doing the borders, after I'd after I'd scored it, but before I folded it, I cut the borders. I used a die and the die cut and the embosser and the embossing machine, but you could use a border punch as well. Okay, so again, after you score but before you fold, okay, do the cuts. Right, so there you go. Hope this one works.